Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope we're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to a live show. Every single show I seem to be doing at the moment seems to be with a different background. Something's always different. And I keep going to different places. So I've got a week in America left. And then I'm gone. Even if Chelsea keep winning, I'm gone. So big up to everyone that's watching. Really appreciate you jumping on. Hope everyone is doing very, very well. Smash the like button if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel as well. Without further ado, we're going to be talking about Joao Pedro to Chelsea, which is a here we go. And we're also going to be talking about Jamie Gittens as well. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I mean, we've spoken about both of these players extensively across the channel. Those of you who've been watching the channel regularly, we've spoken numerous times about this. So this isn't something that's brand new. We've analyzed this. We've looked at the stats. We've looked at how they actually play. And then obviously we've been able to make a decision and an assessment. Now, before you ask me about the game yesterday, I'll break the news now. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. It's the first time I haven't watched a game in years. Why didn't I watch the game? The reason I didn't watch the game was because I was on a flight from New York to Florida, and the flight got delayed by 5 hours. And just couldn't watch the game. So I would have loved to have gone to Charlotte, but we all thought Chelsea were going to finish top of the group. So I thought we would be playing in Miami. And obviously it's not ended up that way. Flamengo are playing in Miami, and we played in Charlotte. But the next game will be in Philadelphia. And that game, I should be there. So I will be there for that game. So apologies for the lack of content. Honestly, it's been really difficult to film in America. Very difficult. So I'm actually looking forward to going back to England just to get back in the rhythm and the structure of things. But nonetheless, we need to speak about what we do know and what is pressing news, what is urgent news for all Chelsea fans at the moment. For those of you who don't know this, I mean, I am surprised if you don't know this, but again, according to Fabrizio Romano, among other journalists as well, Joao Pedro to Chelsea. Here we go. I'll share it on screen now. Agreement done club to club for a fee in excess of £50 million. Joao will travel on Tuesday for medical tests and contract signing, ready for the FIFA Club World Cup. In the chat, I want you to let me know how happy you are about. Was it David Ornstein who did it first? Oh, fair enough. In the chat, I want you to let me know where you rank this transfer on a scale of 1 to 10. We're looking at price. We're looking at quality. We're looking at, ability, quality. It kind of goes hand in hand. Systematically, does he fit in well, Joao Pedro, in terms of what we're doing? So where are we ranking this signing? I'll go through some of the comments as well. Big up to Quaban. Big up to Jordan. Good to see you. Neto, good to see you. I'm doing very well, Tom. Just extremely busy in America, but I'm doing very well. And yes, I will be going to the game on Friday. Big up to Pascal. Or at least I'm hoping to go to the game on Friday. Good to see Rubik's in the building, as always. Very crazy 36 hours. Who do we sell? We'll talk about that. Sorry, Alan. I don't know if you heard. I was on a flight, so I couldn't watch the game. There was a 5-hour delay on my plane. So yeah, there's not even any point of me doing a fan cam because it wouldn't have been genuine. Got so hammered waiting for the game to restart. Ruined my night. Fair enough. Smart business or not, Alex? Joao Pedro for 50 million or Kudos? Well, Kudos was 80. But I think we can all agree Kudos is probably a better player than Joao Pedro. But we're not getting Kudos for 50 million. So if you're looking at the same price, I think that's an easy question. But if you're paying almost 100 million, then that's probably a debate that you could have. Am I going to be going to the next game? Hopefully, I'm hoping to. Alex, the club's finished. How can we sign Pedro and Gittens for around 100 million euros but can't get Magnan? Doesn't fit the model. Clown Lake out. Well, I have to agree with you. I have to agree with you there in terms of the model. Yeah, I'm not on this. Well, I guess you could say the club's finished in terms of the win now era is over. I mean, that's done. There is no ambition to win straight away. That is absolutely correct. But like anything, this is obviously a huge gamble with the model. And it does work if you want to get to the stage of becoming a top 5 team. It does work. The question then is, are you going to press on? Are you going to become more than just a top 5 team? A top 4 team? We finished 4th. And I think the answer to that is, maybe yes, in terms of challenging, but you won't find a consistent group of winners based on the recruitment we have. I think it's difficult. But listen, the main thing for me has always been progression every season. And you can't deny that we've not had progression. We have. I mean, in a lot of ways, you could say we haven't, but in more ways, we have. We finished 12th. We finished 6th. We got to an FA Cup semi and a Carabao Cup final. We then finished 4th. We won a European trophy. We didn't do as well domestically in cups, that's true, but the European trophy sort of fills that gap. And we got into the Champions League. So based on the past 3 years, although a lot of people, including myself, many moments, will still be unsatisfied, you can't deny that we look a lot better now than we did 2 years ago. You can't deny that. And that's a great thing. But again, do you want to settle for that? And the answer for a lot of fans is no. You don't. You want to win Premier Leagues. You want to win titles and challenge consistently. Are you going to be able to do that when you sign Jamie Gittens and Joao Pedro? And we'll have to find out. This is a great question, Amir. Would Joao Pedro come to Chelsea to be an upgrade or a downgrade? In your opinion, I would personally say get well away from Brighton as soon as possible. I've already had enough of Brighton as it is. I'll be honest with you, really don't know what to think about this one. We kind of knew Gittens was going to happen, and this transfer, like, it's been in the pipeline. We've heard about it, but now it's done. I can't say I'm a fan of Joao Pedro. I can't say I'm a fan. Out of, what was it, 10 goals he scored in the Premier League? 5 of them were penalties. He's a good player. Not a great player. He's a good player. Are we a good team or are we a great team? Do we want to be a good team or do we want to be a great team? So, listen, you are a product of who you sign. And if we're signing lots of players like Joao Pedro, I don't think we're challenging for Premier Leagues anytime soon. Having said that, there's still plenty of time to do business and get deals done. So, after last season and the meltdowns that I went through, if there's one lesson I've learned, I just want to sit and see what we do and comment on that. And then once the window's over, I can make a full assessment. But until then, It's very difficult to judge the signings we've made unless we know why we've made them. And someone's coming in, Joao Pedro's coming in. Does that mean that Nkunku's gone? Does that mean Jackson's gone? Who does it affect? And that's where I am at the moment. 6 out of 10 signing, 8 out of 10, 6. 10 out of 10 upgrade from Jackson, good on the ball and can score. How many penalties did Jackson score this season, though? 0? He scored, 10 goals in the Prem? So, I prefer those stats than penalty goals. I really do. I should be going to Philly. I should be there. I can't believe that they delayed it for 2 hours. I don't even think there was a problem, was there? It was like a potential issue. That's what I don't know. The weather can be quite extreme out here. Well, if Kudos does come in and Madueke goes, that is an upgrade. There's no doubt about that. We don't make transfers anymore solely on footballing ground. It's all got to fit the business model, which is why we are always going to be gambling on player development. Again, I think it's absolutely right. I think you're totally correct. This is the model, guys. This is the model, and I'll be honest with you. We are owned by private equity. Private equity cares about one thing: they buy a company. They build it up in value and they sell it for a profit. What you also need to understand is the money we're spending is not our own money. It's money that we've borrowed. So we are in a situation where, I'll be honest, Chelsea, we all know we're in a very healthy financial situation with regards to PSR. We're over 300 million in the clear, 250 million. Based on this transfer, presumably. But if you've got 200 million that's there to be spent, it does make people think, why aren't we just putting the icing on top of the cake, the cherry on top? This squad is probably 2 or 3 players away from being a Premier League challenging squad. And that's honestly quite surprising when you look at the criticism that we receive in terms of some of the signings. We are a goalkeeper away. We are a striker away. Probably another centre-back away from having a title challenging squad. And we had the opportunity to sign a goalkeeper for 20 million and we said no. We refused to pay Osman's wages. We're not going anywhere near Gyökeres. Probably too old by now. The amount of players that we have turned down, we don't make any exceptions. We make 0 exceptions in terms of shifting our wage structure. No exceptions whatsoever. Let's see what David Ornstein said. Yeah, so David Ornstein said, obviously we were competing against Newcastle for the signing of Joao Pedro. He's 23 years old. He's a Brazilian player. He only wanted to join us. He didn't want to join Newcastle. He wasn't interested in joining Newcastle. It's excess of 50 million, which means there will be add-ons as well, presumably. His contract expires in 2032. It's a 7-year deal. He's currently on his way to US to complete the medical, and then he's going to join our Club World Cup squad. Now, according to one analyst, he brings a bit of everything. Not necessarily destructive with his dribbling as other players like by Chelsea, such as Kudos or Ekitike. But he is very comfortable dropping deep and creating chances for his teammates. He works hard off the ball too, spending most of his time in the pockets, in the left half space before timing his runs into the box. The sheer quantity of attacking talent already at Chelsea is dizzying. But Joao Pedro and other Chelsea forwards, Chelsea are linked to point for a desire of flexibility across the final third. So that's what they're saying about Joao Pedro. Now, I'll be honest with you. Again, it's not a terrible signing. Just like Gittens isn't a terrible signing. I'll be honest with you. You know, I've had lots of time to think about this. When you look at the deals we've done and the players that we've brought in and everything that's happening as it stands, it's difficult to criticize the signings in terms of, you know, they're bad players, because they're not bad, but it is pretty underwhelming based on what else is out there. Okay. Now, I was a big fan of the Delap deal. I think Delap's quality. I like him. I'm a fan of Delap. And I'm also a fan of Delap for a similar reason in terms of the transfer, that I was a fan of Tosin, because Tosin was free. Delap was cheap. We probably saved 20 million on that guy because of his release clause. In this case with Brighton, we've had our pants pulled down. We have had our pants pulled down. 50 million plus add-ons in excess of 50 million pounds is too much. That is not what this player is worth, in my opinion. The only reason that Brighton have any reason to sell him for that price is because of what they originally paid for him, which was about 35 million. So they've ended up making a profit of roughly 20 million. Okay, maybe more. I don't know if the add-ons go up to 60 or something like that. I mean, I heard earlier on that 60 million was what they were holding out for. It seems like it's 50 million, but there'll be some additional clauses in there. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Good player. I hope he plays on the left wing, though. He's not good enough for centre strike, and half his goals are pens, which he's not going to have at Chelsea. He's not even going to be a penalty taker. So if you're looking at a striker scoring 5 goals a season, then that is a flop. But, you know, I'll be honest, I don't watch enough of Joao Pedro and Brighton. I haven't watched enough of them this season to really... Like, I know he's a versatile player, but I don't really know enough about him based on watching him, because you've got to do the eye test. You can watch the stats as much as the eye test is the way you want to do it. So, I mean, if anyone's got any comments about this guy, let us know. But I don't think he's worth 50 mil. I do think he's worth more than 25 in the modern market. You know, Jadon Sancho would have gone to 25 million from Man United. That's the modern market, and I think that would have probably been a good deal and a fair deal. I'd say that Joao Pedro still has age on his side. He's 23. There is still a factor for potential. As with everything that we do, it's all about potential. What's Fabrizio tweeted? Okay, we go. Chelsea to complete documents for Joao Pedro and Bino Gittens on Monday. more signings will follow. So this is not the end of Chelsea's transfer saga. Chelsea are looking to do a little bit more up until the rest of the season. The rest of the summer window. Sorry, not the season. But then my question is, where are we actually looking in order to invest in these players? Like, what are we looking to do? I know we like the versatility. I know that's obviously an important factor. But can we not have some players that just fit into a position, and that is their position? It's great having players who can play as a winger, who can play as a 10, who can play as a striker, you can play on the left, you can play on the right, whatever it is. That's fine. You know, I've got nothing against versatility. I think versatility is a good thing. But why can't we just have someone who's a specialty and who knows how to play at the highest level in one position? That's not how football works anymore. Well, in terms of squad management and rotation, you might be right. But the best players are the best players for a reason, because they do their job better than anyone else. So to sit here and say that you don't want the best players, and I'm not saying you're saying that, but to try and justify not getting the best players because they're not versatile enough, it's just strange. It's weird. You want goals, buy a good striker. You want creativity, buy a 10. Get a good midfielder. You want to keep clean sheets, but get a better goalkeeper. Invest in your defense. These aren't difficult questions to answer. And I think that Chelsea, ultimately, when we sign a lot of these players, we sign them with the intention of where they will be in 2-3 years' time, rather than what are we going to get next season, this coming season. And I agree with Jazza. Brighton have pulled our pants down. And that's not to say that the signing of Joao Pedro is a bad signing. You know, I'm honestly past the point of just complaining for every signing, because the truth is he could be a good player for us. He could. We'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see. I really don't know what to say. But, you know, if anyone is absolutely buzzing from this signing, I just don't share that same thought process. I don't share that. You know, he's a good player. But what has he shown in his career to be worth that much money? Maybe it's Brazilian tax. We talk about English tax, but there must be a Brazilian tax these days as well. Everyone wants a good Brazilian in their team. I mean, this is what we're looking at in the Premier League this season when we look at Joao Pedro. 27 appearances, and that's less than I would expect as well. So I want to know why there's 27. 10 goals, 6 assists. Okay. So actually, it looks all right on face value because it's over a 50% conversion. You're getting a goal in, you know, at least every 2 games. You're getting a goal or an assist. 1 red card, 4 yellows. But he's not starting as much. He's not playing a ridiculous amount of minutes. I don't know why that is. What did he do in the FA Cup? Well, he didn't play 27 games in the FA Cup, that's for sure. So where are his goals coming from? Because we know 5 of them are penalties already. And how are they being spread out? So he's scoring in big games. Arsenal, Man United, crucial goals. I don't know if they were pens or not. Man City, Bournemouth, got an assist in those games as well. Fulham, Villa, Arsenal, Southampton, Bournemouth, Fulham. Leicester scored 2. Red card suspension. No injuries. So none of the reasons that he was injured, that he wasn't available, was because he was injured. So I don't understand why he wasn't available for this particular period. But that's always something to be aware of. But he's scoring in big games. He's a player who likes to score in big games. So we won't have that issue with Joao Pedro based on what we're seeing right now. yeah, I think ultimately we're looking at a player who's, he's done all right, hasn't he? He's done all right. But our signings should be here. Here we are again with underwhelming signings, not knocking the players, just not the marquee we needed. I agree with you. This seems to be the rate now. I mean, inflation is killing us. I mean, honestly, I don't get it. But this is the thing, though. If you want to get these deals done, you have to find an agreement. And big clubs need better players. They need to improve every year. So we are held to ransom by those smaller clubs. We are being held to ransom because they don't need to sell. Brighton don't need to sell. But they're doing it because why not? They can. Well, let's see what he did in that season. You make a very fair point. We saw what he did this season. Let's see what he did in 23-24. What were his stats in that season? So in the Premier League, he got 12 GA in 31 games. So it's pretty much the same in terms of his conversion. It's pretty much the same. Played 40 games, scored in 20. So that's including the Europa League, FA Cup, and the EFL Cup. I think there's a bit of stat padding going on here as well, especially in the FA Cup. So, yeah, in Europe, he did well. One thing that I'm intrigued about with Joao Pedro, he's not getting any 90-minute games under him. How many 90 minutes has he played? 89. We'll give that to him as 1. 2. Let's just say 3. That's 88. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. So as the season progressed, he was able to play more minutes. But this is a player that I think, actually, to be fair, in that case, it makes me do think that, he fits with what Maresca likes, because Maresca likes to rotate heavily anyway. And that seems to be what happens with Joao Pedro at Brighton. He's been rotated quite a bit. You're absolutely right. We could have got Yorkeres. We could have got him. Now, one thing I don't know about is the details on what he's being paid. I don't know how big his contract is. I don't know, all of those details. I'm sure we will find out those details shortly. But it is frustrating. It is frustrating to see that we're so willing to spend all this money on players who they're good players. But if West Ham signed Joao Pedro, I don't think we'd bat an eyelid. We'd go, all right, he's gone from one mid-table club to another mid-table club, although West Ham are more of a relegation team this season. But you get what I'm saying. Like, that's not the type of player that you associate a title challenging or a team that want to challenge for titles, supposedly, signing that bracket. But if we have got Joao Pedro, maybe that means we're no longer interested in Garnacho. And if that's the case, then, hey, I'll be honest with you. I think that's a better scenario than we could have got. If we would have had Garnacho, I know Lewis for certain would have been absolutely fuming. listen, we've got to just roll with the punches. We're fucking rolling with them. Signing Joao Pedro won't be enough. The only sensible reason I can see why they signed him is for backup for Palmer or occupying the left winger. He won't be coming here to play as a striker. Oh, he's making a big call here. He's saying Gyökeres will come in. Well, listen, if that's what happens, then fair enough. But it's a depth option. But, you know, the thing is, guys, we have this conversation already about the fact that we were signing too many players. Nobody's going to get, you know, a lot of players aren't going to get the opportunity to play. We have learnt that there is a time in the season when you need to rotate. Having players at your disposal is better than not having them. And what we did in January, in the last window, is we categorically weakened our squad and we made it harder for Maresca. We got rid of Vega, we got rid of Joao Felix. Those were both players that gave us more depth. And then when we had injuries and we needed to rotate and players were tired, we had nothing. We didn't have players that we could use that were in the same bracket as those two. So I think that Joao Pedro is certainly a player that can perform at Chelsea, but I don't see him playing every single week. But again, with this one, I don't want to get too opinionated. I want to see what happens. I want to see where we can go, and I want to see what happens as well. Guys, we've got almost 200 of you in the building as it stands. Smash the like button. We've got over 70 likes as it stands. Let's get up to 100 likes on the video. Smash that like button, guys. Really appreciate everyone watching. I'm currently in Florida as it stands, but I will be hopefully flying to Philadelphia for the next game against Palmeiras, where we will be watching Esteval taking on Chelsea, which is going to be crazy. I don't know if there's a clause which doesn't allow him to play against us. I don't know if there should be. But hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, one player we haven't really spoken about yet today is Jamie Gittens as well. Now, obviously, we can have our opinions on Joao Pedro. And there's no doubt that he's a player that improves the squad. He does improve the squad. Like Joao Felix improved the squad last season. But then you have to take, you have to take these things with a pinch of salt. This is not a guy who's going to win us a title. And Jamie Gittens doesn't seem like the type of player that's going to win us a title next season either. But what can they bring to this team? What can they bring? What do we have now that we didn't have before? If we're comparing them both to the players that we've had. And those comparisons would be most likely Joao Felix and Jadon Sancho. Maybe you put Mudryk in that category as well. And what I think that you're getting from Jamie Gittens is something that we already have to an extent with Noni Madueke, but you're going to have it on the other side. You are going to have a winger who is direct, who likes to take players on, likes to dribble, shoots a lot. Okay. Now, the amount of times that Jadon Sancho had the ball last season, and we're saying, go on, Jadon, have a crack. Come on, mate. Have a shot. Do something. And he just didn't do it. He passed it backwards, whatever it was. That frustration was there. All right. But not to say we didn't appreciate Sancho, but there was moments where we thought, God, just want to see you have a crack, man. You don't have to score it, but try to score. At least you're in a great position. And Gittens will give you that. He will give you that no-nonsense shooting that we lacked with Jadon Sancho. You'll also have that no-nonsense shooting from the lap. And that's an upgrade on what we have had with Nicholas Jackson. When we look at Joao Pedro, we get the versatility. Okay. And to be fair, Joao Felix in his own right is versatile, but he wasn't able to perform in multiple positions. Really, he was only a 10. That's all he could do. But what you'll get with Joao Pedro is he can play as a striker, he can play on the left, and he can thrive in both of those positions. So, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that these are signings that get me excited, because they're not. But I'm not going to say they're terrible signings either, because I don't think they're terrible. I think they're okay. It's like when you've been watching a 1-1 draw. You've been to Stamford Bridge and you've seen the team draw 1-1. It was all right, you know. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. It was all right. And that's kind of how I feel about these transfers. Like walking out of Stamford Bridge after drawing a game. There's no better way for me to describe how I'm feeling than that. Is it underwhelming? Yeah, probably. Yeah, it is. Am I surprised? No. I'm not surprised. And if you're surprised, then what have you been watching for the past few years? This is the way Chelsea work now. It's work, it's business. It's not passion. Come on, guys. You know, I've spoken to American fans out here, and they were telling me about one of their basketball teams who have struggled over the past few years. And they said, apparently, they said, we have this slogan for our basketball team, or the ownership or the marketing team, the media, they made this slogan. I said, oh, what's the slogan? Trust the process. I went, bloody hell, that's familiar. And I went, is the process getting any better after 2 or 3 years? And she went, no, not really. So yeah, it's all a mask ultimately for failure short term. But I'm open to giving this a chance under the assumption that we can improve on what we were doing this season. So if we get better, if we are able to finish second or third or first, progress in the Champions League, improve domestically in the FA Cup, in the Carabao Cup, and play a more attractive style of football, because that's also a factor. The football needs to be more attractive. I'm not saying you can't play possession-based football, but fucking hell, some of the stuff we saw, I think you'll agree with me on that. And I'm not talking about before January. I'm talking January onwards. So, listen, there is clearly an opportunity to improve here. Maresca is obviously going to be held to account. But if he doesn't have the players to play the way he wants to play, then it's going to be very, very difficult to blame him if we don't achieve what we want to achieve. If we don't get what we want to, if we don't finish in the, wherever it is that we need to finish, that they say, Champions League is a bare minimum, ideally challenging for trophies, winning trophies. If we're not in a position where we're around that mark, then of course we're going to question the manager, but we need to start looking at the recruitment. We are in a position where if we miss out on Champions League now, based on the signings we're making, it is a categorically a disaster. There's nothing else that you could describe missing out on the Champions League with Chelsea as a disaster from now on. So anyone who justifies us not finishing in the top 4 or top 5 or wherever it is, that is accepting mediocrity. And some people would say that over the past couple of years, a lot of Chelsea fans have accepted that. I would say that this is always going to be a building block. And now we are in a position where we have genuine steps. Like, we can see the end of the tunnel here. We're not staring into the abyss. We know exactly what we need to achieve something with this team. And if we neglect that, if we ignore that, then it would be such a letdown. Such a letdown. But we'll have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see, guys. Big up to DJ Search, hope you're doing well. Big up Alex in Florida this week from Kentucky. Maybe we'll cross paths on the beach. Maybe. You never know. One of are most of the Chelsea fans at these Club World Cup games American? Yes, most of them are American. And by the way, I've seen some stuff online about, fans, American fans chanting, and it doesn't sound quite like what it does in England. They don't know the words as well, or maybe they change a few of the things. Can we lay off some of the foreign fans, please? Can we lay off them? This whole proper Chelsea notion, my opinion on proper Chelsea is very simple. If you love the club, it doesn't matter whether we win or lose. You continue to watch the team. That is a form of love. You don't have to buy the shirts to be a real fan. You don't have to buy the shirts. You just have to watch the games consistently. That is my opinion on what it means to be proper Chelsea. Whether you're watching it in Australia, in England, in America, Middle East, wherever. And the amount of fans that I've met who have traveled significant distances, even in America, they've gone, I drove 8 hours from Boston, or I flew from Texas, or wherever it is. I know I flew from England, so to be fair, it's still longer. But you've got to respect it. You've got to respect the American fans that do turn up. And the only criticism you could have for any Chelsea fans is if you lived in a location where there were tickets to a game, you could afford to go, you were close enough to the stadium to be able to go, the timing was all right, and you still didn't go, then I'd say that deserves a little bit of criticism, because if you're not going to support the team when they're in your town, in your city, well, what the hell are you doing? I mean, it's easy to get tickets. Anyone who watched that game in Charlotte, I didn't watch the game, but I saw the pictures of the stadium. I mean, it's embarrassing. The fact that they're playing games at stupid times, they've got overpriced tickets, and they just make it impossible for fans like myself as well. I'm flying to all these games, and even flying with the intention of going to the Benfica game, we still couldn't make it because they messed us around with the flights. So I do agree with Maresca in some sense. He's spoken about the location of this tournament in America, whether it should be played elsewhere. I think if you're having severe issues with the weather, then it's probably not the right location. Why can't we just choose a safe location where there isn't going to be any hurricanes, there's not going to be any tornadoes? We can just sit there, maybe a little bit of sunshine. I think we can all live with that. There you go. That's my stance on it. No, I was not at the Benfica game. When I was at the Newcastle away game, I met an Australian top man, proper Chelsea. You don't have to be English to be proper Chelsea. You don't have to be. See, I don't have a problem with tourists. I don't have a problem with people buying tickets, and coming to the games. I have a problem when they go to the game and they don't sing, and they don't try, and they're on their phones. That's the issue. It's not foreign fans. It's nothing about that. As long as you're having a good crack and you're having a go and you're trying to get involved, that is more important. And that's how you embed yourself with the Chelsea faithful. We have a supporters group called the Bluegrass Blues that meet up for every match in Lexington and Louisville and Kentucky. Part of the Chelsea in America group, we all bleed Chelsea blue. There you go. And I'd love to know what times you guys have to wake up in order to watch these games, because I know some of the games are at crazy times. But yeah, I mean, just going back to what we were saying about Jamie Gittens, I think that both of these players are, in their own right, upgrades. I think that Joao Felix is more suited to this Chelsea team Joao Pedro is more suited to this Chelsea team than Joao Felix. And I think that Jamie Gittens is better value for money. Actually, no, fuck that. He's not better. But no, that's just waffle. He's not better value for money than Jadon Sancho. In terms of wages, he's better value for money. But in terms of the fee, he's double. So I ignore that. But I do think that Gittens gives you something that we haven't had on that left-hand side, which is that bit of directness, players that want to cut in. It doesn't matter who we buy with Maresca's tactics and formations and picking players out of position. It's pointless. Well, I mean, the argument against that would be, what if we get players that do fit into the system and then the system just looks better because they all know how to play it and they're capable of playing it? I mean, that's the other side. The issue with the system that Maresca plays is if you're not good enough to play it, you look crap. And with other players, even if they don't necessarily fit into that system, they can get away with it in some cases because they're just good players. And I see a player like Gusto, who was one of our best players under Pochettino. And he just doesn't look the same under Maresca. He doesn't look the same. And then I see, players like, I don't know, who can I think of off the top of my head? Fernandes. Yeah, he could get away with what Poch was doing. He could get away with it, like he would get into the team, but he wasn't like one of our best players. But under Maresca, he fits perfectly into what we're doing. He just looks so confident and so capable of doing what's instructed of him. And it's players like that make the system look great. But it's so hard to find players that give you what Enzo Fernandez gives you or what Caicedo gives you. And with our strategy and the way we approach the market, there's only one way to continue that fashion, and that's to continue to spend big money on players that can perform at the highest level. And those players are ready-made players. Hope you're having a good time with your family and your cousins. Show in New York was good. Oh, it was brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you for asking. It was great. Feels like it's unlikely for us to ever get over the line because we spend money but spend on investment. Typically need a big signing of an established player to get over the line. That's true. Gittens has a high ceiling. I saw him tear up Bayern, similar to Madueke, but is a better finisher for me. Malik Fofana would have been a good signing as well. Daniel says we just need Osimhen or Gyökeres plus Maignan or Emi Martinez. We're good to get over the line. If we get Martinez, I mean, that's just strange. Why would you not get Maignan and you bring in Martinez? Unless you're going to get Martinez really cheap, which I don't know. Has he got a year left on his contract? Something like that? How long has he got left? Let me know. Smash that like button, guys. We've got over 150 of you in the building as it stands. We haven't even reached 100. We're on 90 likes as it stands. Let's get up to 100. First of all, I only need 10 more. And then we're going to see if we can close the gap to 150 as well. Come on, let's have one big push. Finish off strong. Really appreciate everyone's support from wherever you are watching. And I hope you're having a good evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are. I doubt we'll sign a striker for a while now, as though we've just signed two. No, I didn't go to the match. Stop talking about Osimhen and Gyökeres. It's pointless. I haven't really spoken about them, to be honest. Alex, we will struggle with PSR at the end of next season. We have no more hotels or women's team to sell. Well, this is where I think we won't struggle. So I have to disagree with you there, Peter. I don't think we'll struggle with PSR because I don't think we'll take any risks. So for that reason and that reason alone, I think Chelsea will be in a position where we've signed a lot of young players. We will sign others, but it's all opportunistic. We won't be spending 80 million like we did for Mudryk. We won't be flying over to Benfica to sign a midfielder like we did with Fernandes. We won't spend 100 million on a Brighton player like we did with Caicedo. And those are the risks that we took. And I don't see us taking any more of those risks, to be quite frank. I think, we are. I think we're quite stable at the moment. And stability is a great thing because you can count on stability. We know that Chelsea can be in a position, if we sign the right players and we do good business, where we'll be a consistent Champions League team. And by the way, I'm a match-going fan, so it's different for me than other people who don't go. I'm grateful to be able to even go to Champions League games. For me, it's just amazing that after 2 years, I'm going to hear that song again. And 2 years is not long, but it feels like forever. Obviously, I enjoy going to the Conference League games. But the other side of that is, who gives a fuck? Go in each competition looking to win. And if you don't have that winning drive, that mentality from up above, then it's very, very difficult to project that with the management and the players as well. So we're going to be in a very healthy PSR situation. Again, this is also a good point. We're going to have the money from the Club World Cup. We've already generated about $40 million from the competition. We'll gain another 15 million. I don't know if that's pounds or dollars, just for beating Palmeiras. And there's a good chance that we can beat them. There's a good chance we lose, but there's a good chance we can beat them. So looking at this team and where we are, in some ways, we were kind of ahead of the curve, and financially, from a business point of view, the club were moving so quickly that nobody can keep up. But now we know where we are, and we're in a more stable position. And we're saying, well, you've got 300 million in the bank. Let's do something with it. And that's where we have to wait for the next month or so until the window shuts. So as soon as that window shuts, then you judge. That's my stance on this. I'm not saying that I love Gittens or I love Joao Pedro. I mean, to be honest, I'm more disappointed about the Joao Pedro signing than the Gittens signing, because I knew we needed a winger. But I'm like, fucking hell. 50 million, and that's not even, it's 50 million plus add-ons. And I saw someone said there was a sell-on clause as well. And we've had our fucking pants pulled down. But if that's the player we really wanted, and we believe that this is the guy that's going to help us, then that's what we're going to do. And we've done it. So in a weird way, you have to show a bit of faith. I mean, a bit of blind faith, because I don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. But one thing I do know is that we're not going to be challenging for a Premier League title as it stands. We're definitely not going to be challenging for any silverware domestically. And in the Champions League, I don't see us qualifying past the league phase with the squad we have right now. I don't think I can see it. Not with Robert Sanchez in goal, not with no cover for Cucurella. We need more quality in this team, ready-made quality. Will we win the Club World Cup? No. No, definitely not. But listen, even where we are now, this is about where I expected Chelsea to be. So if Chelsea win against Palmeiras and we qualify into the next round, what's that? That would be in the semi-finals then. Then I think that would be impressive. That would have been further than I would have expected Chelsea to go in this competition. Semis is great for me. Like, let's not. let's not sit here and act like we think that Chelsea are going to win the competition. I said quarters. That was my prediction. So semis, whew, happy days. Remember, this is the financial cup. It's about how much money you make in this competition. And by getting to the semis, you've done that. Let's see if there's anything else, guys, that I've missed out on. Have we had any other updates? Okay, the documents will be completed for Joao Pedro and Gittens tomorrow. More signings will follow. I think we kind of already knew that. The Guardian came out as well with a story, and they said Maresca has been looking for a player who can play in a wide range of attacking positions. Chelsea are also considering a move for Kudos, but West Ham are expecting bids from elsewhere as it stands. So when you look at the signing of Joao Pedro, especially when you look at that particular quote from the Guardian, I'll just share it with you now. That tells you that maybe this is a player, and I don't know if this is the case, but is this potentially a player that Maresca was pushing for? Is this, was he the one who put the ingredients of what he was looking for from a winger / striker? Did he say, I want a striker who can play on the left, or I want a winger who can play as a striker? Is that what he said? And then all the recruitment team has done is use that information and obviously seen Joao Pedro as a profile that fits that mold. And that's also potentially one of the arguments, because I do think that Maresca is certainly involved in the recruitment, but he doesn't have a say, but they listen to him, if that makes sense. If Maresca says, I don't want a player, I think they'll sign the player anyway. I mean, we've already proven, we've seen that with Joao Felix, with other players that we've brought in, and they haven't got the game time, have they? I think Vega was probably another one. So we'll see. I'm not convinced that Jackson is leaving Chelsea. I'm not convinced about that. I think the argument is bigger for Noni Madueke to leave than Jackson, because I'll be honest with you, I know what I get from Jackson and I know what I get from Madueke. If you said to me, which one of those two players would you rather keep at Chelsea based on selling them both for 50 mil, let's just say we sold them for the same price, I'd sell Madueke. I'd sell him. And I'd keep Jackson. I think as a squad player, Jackson is quality. Just not as the number one. I've always been a fan of Jackson. I'm still a fan of Jackson. I think he's been an idiot, recently. Just totally stupid with that reckless challenge against Flamengo with the elbow against Dan Burn. I just thought, what an idiot. Honestly, what a... But, you know what you're going to get from Jackson. You're going to get a hard-working player. Tries his hardest. People go, oh, but every player should do that. But not every player does it. So when you get players that offer 110% on the pitch, I appreciate that. Because I've seen Gonzalo Higuain and these other fucking bums like Morata who didn't run. And I'm not saying that Jackson's the king of scoring goals, but he does help the team, especially defensively. He makes good runs and he gets himself into good positions. He does get himself in good positions. So I don't want to see Jackson leave. But Madueke, as far as I'm concerned, he can go. It doesn't bother me. For the right price, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not going to sit here and say Joao Pedro is an upgrade on Madueke because I don't think that I'm convinced about that either. But there's not an awful lot between the two. I can tell you that for free. So that's where we are, guys, in terms of everything at the moment, with Joao Pedro, with Jamie Gittens. Obviously, both of them are going to be coming to Chelsea. That's about 100 million that we're spending on these guys. It's a lot of money, isn't it? But listen, I really appreciate your time, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Smash that like button if you haven't already. There's 51 people in here that haven't liked the video. If you are one of them, please do. It helps the channel. It helps us grow. And it shows that you're enjoying the content as well. So really appreciate your time, guys. We will catch up very soon. And all the best. Enjoy the rest of your evening.